James and the van. It was a frosty morning on the island of Sodor, and James was bringing a goods train from the Little Western. He was cold and tired, and wouldn't stop complaining. Why couldn't Duck or Oliver do this, he moaned. A splendid engine like me should be pulling coaches, not these troublesome trucks. Don't worry, James, said his fireman. We've nearly reached the yard now, so you can have a drink and a rest before your next train. Good, James replied. A nice long rest will make me feel much better.
Okay. So I'm stopping and waiting. Oh, is there a reason? Oh. Is that the thing that I've been complaining about this entire time? Yes. I'm not complaining about, but I've been saying there should be like there should be a visible reason for why I'm stopping and waiting. Wow. Okay, Percy. I see you. Blowing me off. But just now, Percy was on the track. And to avoid a collision, it made me stop and wait. So the thing that I was saying this entire time was like, it'd be cooler if rather than just telling me to stop and wait, it gave me like a real reason, or showed me a real reason why I'm stopping and waiting, and just now it did. So maybe all the times it's told me to stop and wait, there have been like viable reasons, and I just didn't see it. Also, I was talking a lot of crap about that one guy's hair a couple episodes ago. I think it might have been my hair. I think it might have been me the entire time. I think I have dumb hair. Because I rewatched the first episode of this Let's Play series of like the base game, like the tutorial, and where you know, choose your character. And as it turns out, I did make the conscious decision to pick the guy with the goofiest hair. I mean, yeah, in-game it was like tweaking out, like visually. But I mean, it was my fault that I picked the goofiest looking hair. Or the guy with the goofiest hair. Yeah, see, it says you can be going fast, but I never trust the little gauge on the speedometer that tells you what the game would allow. Because if I was right now, I'd be going about 50 miles an hour, and then I'd be slamming on the brakes right now as I enter this tunnel. With 100 yards, or 150 yards before I have to stop and wait. Got the go signal. Come on, let me out. Let me out of this view. Okay. Alright, it's gonna start slowing down again. Stop at location as indicated. See, but now, like, now you're obviously aiming to stop on the blue, right? And so I do. Alright. So yeah, I think we're just backing it up now. I think we're dropping off the trucks. Take it nice and easy. Boom.
Soon
Perfect.
they arrived back at the yard. James was still feeling rather upset, and as he stood in the yard, the icy wind swirled around his smokebox. Bother this cold weather, he shivered. Right, said his fireman. I'll jump down and uncouple the trucks. Then we can go and fetch the coaches. He walked over to the coupling and tried to uncouple it. But try as he might, it would not budge. What's going on back there? Asked James. I'm going to be late for my passengers. There seems to be a problem with the coupling, said his fireman at last. It looks like we're going to have to take the van with us. What? Exclaimed James. Pull my train and this horrible van too? No, I won't. What would the other engines think if they found out? Great, grumbled the van. Now I'm stuck behind you for the rest of the day.
That was going to be my question. Why do some of the trucks have faces and other ones don't? Is that canon with the Thomas and Friends universe?
Fine, groaned James. The sooner we take these passengers, the sooner I can get to the works and get my coupling fixed.
See, like, this one doesn't have a face. These ones do. And then the van does, right? Yeah. I'm like stepping on the... Oh, yeah, but look, okay. So you could see, I'm not holding any buttons down, but like, the brakes are firmly applied, and then I'll just tap the brakes and it like unlocks it. It's like an emergency brake or something, and now I can move. I don't know why the game does that. It's like if you're holding the brakes down as the episode, or as the oh god, I gotta slow down. Came in a little hot there. As it cuts to a cutscene, then it just like freezes the brakes applied like that. Or maybe I'm just like trying to give it reason. Trying to understand it from a programming perspective, like why that happens. And that's the only thing I can explain, or I can like begin to guess, is the explanation. It's that if you go into it's like on a computer, if you right click, I don't know if this is still a thing, but if you like right click and you have the drop down menu, and then you hit like the Windows button, then it'll kind of like, that drop down will be frozen there as the new window opens or whatever. It's not important. The bottom line is, wait, I'm supposed to be coupling, right? Yeah. It's like that. If it goes to a cutscene and you're already stepping on the brakes, it just freezes it in place. And again, that might not even be the issue. That's just what it seems like to me. Beautiful coupling, though. Let's talk about it. I think there's like nerdy. There are like different levels of nerdy. There's nerdy when you're like playing a railroad simulating game and you're really into it, like I am right now. But then there's an additional layer of nerdiness where that railroad simulator game is also a Thomas and Friends game. So I'm getting really gassed up about a railroad simulator, but it's also based around characters that are designed and created for like toddlers. But I'm unashamed, I will say. I'm having way too much fun with this game, unironically, and I'm unashamed to admit that. Skirt. I am a little bit ashamed that I've failed several scenarios, though, in the process. But in my defense, like, it isn't, like, that easy. It's kind of easy if you're paying attention. If you're paying attention and you're warmed up to the controls and everything, and you know what your objective is, like, it's pretty easy. But, like, it's also easy to kind of, like, fall into this, like, state of, like, hypnosis, because it is so relaxing and simple. That, like, you just get to a point where your brain kind of just shuts off, and then it becomes easy to screw it up or make mistakes. Not too shabby, all things considered. Alright, open my cab. Not a soul gets on board.
James arrived at the platform, still cold and upset. As he watched the passengers begin to board the train, he was surprised to see that the passengers didn't take much notice of the ban. That's good, he thought to himself.
They didn't even take notice of the train
Maybe
pulling
if
in.
the passengers
They're just
don't
standing
notice,
there.
Then maybe none of the other engines will.
That's not really the case. I feel like the other engines are going to be hyper aware of something like that. Whereas passengers wouldn't pay it any mind, because why would they? They probably wouldn't. Most passengers wouldn't even know the difference between a freight line and a passenger line. And also, I think that might not be uncommon for railroads. I feel like occasionally, like, a railroad will ship or will, like, attach a freight car to a passenger line or a passenger train. If they have the same destination and the same origin point, why not? You know what I mean? Unless it's like trash or something. If you're shipping, I don't know if trash is ever, you know, taken on a railroad, but like something that would be unsightly for passengers. You know what I mean? Just like attaching like a random freight car with some shipment, Amazon shipments or something in it. Like, I don't think that would be crazy. I have a feeling that all of this is nonsense. I have a feeling that Amazon does not ship freight via railroad either. But who knows, dude? I don't know. I don't know what the railroad economy looks like. I will say, though, like, I really love these bridges. I love the world that they built here for this game. And that goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier, how easy it is to become kind of hypnotized by this game. Because, like, I'm not even pressing buttons right now. I'm totally out of control. It's kind of on autopilot to some degree. And a lot of the game is, like, you kind of get to a speed and then you kind of let it go on autopilot and just keep an eye out for, you know, stop and wait signals. Or, like, arrivals in, like, at your destination. But that's why, like, taking in all the beautiful scenery and kind of being in autopilot allows you to kind of go, like, kind of zone out and just, like, enjoy the ride and the majesty of railroads. And for that reason, it becomes difficult. Not because it's actually a difficult game. It's very easy to play, very easy to master. It's just the hypnosis, the relaxation of it. It's like, imagine playing like something like Animal Crossing, except as you're mindlessly picking weeds, it doesn't count for you, or actually it does count. This game does count for you, so I won't use that as the analogy, but like, imagine if you're like picking weeds or something like tedious, not tedious, but like repetitive and, you know, mind-numbing, in a game like Animal Crossing, but then like, if you accidentally fill your pockets, right, with weeds, then all of a sudden, the game is like, oop, objective failed, start over, and then all the weeds are replanted, right? That's what this game is like. It's nice, it's relaxing, it's peaceful, and you're always just one little slip up away from restarting the entire level. So, like, yeah, it's not hard by any means, but, and maybe it's just me, maybe this is just like my ADHD or whatever, where I'm just like, ooh, pretty scenery. ooh, a little river going by. Like, ooh, look at the cows and the pigs playing soccer with the donkey referee that we've passed a million times, and I still, you know, pan the camera to look at it every single time we pass it. I don't know. Okay, but I do want to... I am going to test one thing really quickly. I do genuinely want to know if this is something that I can do. I don't know if it is or not, so we're going to find out together. It is. You can't jump, though, so, like, for here, for example, I can't go out into that world. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's how the game keeps you on the rails, so to speak. Because you physically can't go outside of certain barriers. That's pretty cool attention to detail. I was just... Ooh, can I climb? No. I was just genuinely curious, like, if you are able to explore the open world, because the map is so huge. And the answer is kind of, but it's mostly just, like, you can run around on the tracks for if that is, for some reason, something you'd be inclined to do. But maybe there's a little bit more to do in that regard when you enter free play. I'm not really sure. I just wanted to see if I was able to do that. And now now with that in mind, I'm gonna be keeping an eye out for like places where there is no fencing. Also, did those go up? I don't think the railroad crossing things ever go up, even when you're far away from them. So as to not let you do what I just tried to do and venture forth into the great unknown. So despite giving the appearance of like being this massive open world, it kind of is, but it's also very much on rails. Pun intended, but also not intended. Like, the feeling that you can go out and explore into the world is just a simulation. Like, it's not real. Because everything is, like, you can't go into this town. Because there's... Oh, you know what? Yes, you can. There's a gap there. I mean, there's a wall on the other side of it, so you can't go that far off. But you can go onto the street, it looks like. You can get into the street. And therefore run down there. I'm going to have to explore at some point. Not on Campaign Killer, but on that free play show I was talking about earlier. Because then you can go into the yards for sure. Because at this point, you can get into the street. And then you can go onto that street too, it seems like. And if you get onto that street, you'd be able to go down there and then further. Alright, so there is some exploration that you can seemingly do. It told me to whistle, so I whistled. There's a sign that said whistle. Now I'm intrigued as to exactly how much you can actually explore. Also, I am aware that I am massively behind schedule. Not that the people here care, or that it matters according to the game, but I'm massively behind schedule because I literally came to a complete screeching halt and jumped out of the train. There's Gordon down there, it looks like, though. I think that's Gordon. Did I do it? Oh, there we go. I thought I did, but it didn't work, apparently.
As James arrived at the station, he suddenly heard a familiar whistle. "Oh, no," said James. "It's Gordon."
I knew it.
"Hello, little James. What are you doing coupled to that van?" asked Gordon.
So Gordon seems like the bane of
Is that what passes as a
James'
special
existence.
coach nowadays? Gordon puffed away, still laughing. James tried to ignore him, and it wasn't long before the guard's whistle blew and they continued on their way.
Alright, we're clear to go. Oh wait, did I close my doors? I did not. I think they close automatically, but like when you start moving. Get up to speed here. Got about 2 miles to go, so we got a long run here. Assuming there are no more stop and wait, but I'm gonna keep an eye out. Even in these like pasture areas, there's fencing all along the railroad, so you can't really get out and run into the field or anything and touch cows. As much as I want to go pet a cow or ride one of those tractors. Seems like you might have been able to get into that lake, though. Unless there's like an invisible barrier. Oh, but in here, these are woods, dude. Wait. I'm not going to come to a complete stop. But there are woods here. This feels like you could explore. At least to some degree. I don't know how far back you can go, but might be worth checking out at some point. I'm sure there's like nothing in it though too. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure it's just like a vast empty like forest area. And these are just like vast empty fields and there's nothing to do out there or like to take in. Oh, I should start slowing down. I should have started slowing down a while ago. I might be in trouble, guys. I'm slamming on the brakes right now. But I'm only at 50 miles an hour. It is not slowing down fast enough. But maybe it is. Maybe we got this. Maybe we're going to be okay. We might be okay, guys. Oh, God. We're going to be pushing it. We're really pushing it. No, we're good. Okay, we're so golden. Like, even if we overshot this landing, we're not going to go all the way over there, so we did good. Boom.
James soon arrived at Wellsworth Station. As the passengers began to board, he suddenly noticed a station master talking to someone with a large wooden box. "I'm sorry, but you can't bring this on the train," said the station master. "There isn't enough space. You'll need to wait for the mail train later tonight." "But I'm performing in an important concert," explained the passenger, "and I must get myself and my piano there on time."
There ain't no piano in there. That's not a big enough box for a piano. Shut up.
An idea came to him.
Talking about a grand piano, or are we talking about a keyboard? Because those are two very different things.
"But you could try putting your piano into my van. I'm sure it would fit, and it would mean you could get to your concert on time." The passenger was delighted.
Yeah, he looks delighted.
"That's a wonderful idea, James," said the passenger. "What a clever engine you are." James felt rather pleased with himself.
It looked pretty dingy, though, for a concert piano to be putting it.
"This piano is heavy," moaned the van. "Why did we have to take it?" "Do stop your complaining," puffed James. "All this fuss over one wooden box." "The piano is loaded now, so it's almost time for us to get going," said James to the passenger. So the passenger hurried quickly to their carriage, And moments later, the guard blew his whistle, and James knew it was time to leave.
Alrighty. So we got 2.3 miles. This is a long story. Mostly just because it's long journeys, which I'm not opposed to, but also because I stopped and see. But look, you can go down there. It seems like you should be, in theory, you should be able to get down all the way to the river. I doubt it lets you go in the river. And again, all this to say, like, I doubt there's actually stuff you can do in these places, but like, it is intriguing to me that there is some level of exploration on foot that you can do outside of your train, off the rails. Thomas off the rails. The new rated M for mature. Thomas Train Sim. It's GTA with trains. GTT. Grand Theft Trains. Thomas off the rails. Thomas Unleashed. Nah, Thomas off the rails. I think I nailed it with the first one. I nailed it with the first iteration. Thomas off the rails. But also, I feel like Thomas off the rails already exists in that indie game Choo Choo Charlie that came out a couple years ago, I think. Where, like, I think it's basically like the same game as this, except not literally, but like from what I watched, it felt very like train simmy, like where you're first person guy, but you can run around in the open world and get back on your train, and your train is like an inanimate train, but you're actively being chased through the world by Choo Choo Charlie. What the heck is that? I thought there was like a dead cow or something. I was like, what the hell? It's not, just a rock pile or something, or a bush covered in snow. Almost got really depressed. Anyway, yeah. Choo Choo Charlie, I think, like, Choo Choo Charlie is, like, this creepy spider, like, demonic spider train that can go off the rails, obviously, and run after you. And the goal of the game is to, like, avoid him, naturally, and not die. But, it's like a survival horror game. But if Thomas off the rails were a real game, it would be that of Choo Choo Charlie. Now I feel like I gotta grab a copy of Choo Choo Charlie and play that on the channel too. If we're going hard on the and all in on the railroad simulator, I think Choo Choo Charlie is the next gateway drug to get into that. Boom, baby. I've long wondered how railroads work, and like, if the station is a certain length, why do trains stop there and not all the way up, or vice versa?
He was just about to ask him about it when the owner of the piano came over to see him. This clever engine and his crew came to my rescue, he explained. They helped me to transport my piano in time for my band's concert tonight. And James offered to help. You must be very proud of him. Indeed I am, smiled Sir Topham Hatt. James, your quick thinking has helped a passenger in need, and you've once again proven yourself to be a really useful engine. Thank you, sir, puffed James proudly. Hey, what about me? Cried the van. I had to carry the piano. Sir Topham Hatt turned his attention to the van. I hear you helped one of my passengers today, he said. So I must thank you as well. You are a very useful van indeed. And you've even given me
So I don't really remember. But
perhaps we should consider adding vans to all our passenger trains in future. I think that's
is Sir Topham Hatt just like a railroad mogul? Is he like Mr. Monopoly of the Sodor Railroad? Because he's always like walking around like, yes, thank you for helping my customers.
He wasn't used to getting
How
trains
useful
like
you
this,
are.
and was looking forward to his next passenger train.
All right. There it is. And then the next scenario, and I think the final scenario, first class engine.